So Donald Trump has already signed this ridiculous executive order that effectively bars all citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the United States. Now, the main objective for this executive order is to protect the United States and its citizens from the threat of terrorism. But we can quickly see how this will probably not help at all in that objective. We will probably not be protected further from more terrorist attacks because, as we all know, the majority of in fact, probably the vast majority, or maybe not even any of the more recent terrorist attacks have been carried out by any of the people that are from those 7 countries. In fact, the 9/11 terrorist attack was actually the hijackers were the majority of them were actually from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia right now is our ally, and that's not one of the 7 countries that is barred that bars its citizens from entering the United States. They are actually our ally. We supply Saudi Arabia with weapons that they use against the Yemenis, the Yemen, where they are bombing civilians. They are and they are actually creating a famine there. People literally, the majority of the population is actually starving, and they are actually dying from lack of food, and that's caused by Saudi Arabia. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia is a totalitarian Islamic regime that actually does not allow the practice of Christianity and does not allow atheists to be atheists. Those two things are actually punishable by death. So why aren't we barring a country, the citizens of a country that actually has policies that kill Christians because they practice Christianity, or atheists because they don't want to believe in any God whatsoever? That should be a right in any country. That should be a main reason why you should be barring the citizens of that country if you choose to do so. That should be, well, we shouldn't just be barring citizens just because they are part of a country that doesn't agree with you. First of all, that just shouldn't be. We already have very strong vetting procedures here in the United States, even before this executive order. As I've said, proof of that is that the majority, or if not all, of the terrorist attacks that have been carried out was not carried out or have not been carried out by the citizens of those 7 countries. That tells you of how good our vetting system is for refugees. Okay, so again, the objective of trying to prevent further terrorist attacks is not going to work with this, with barring the refugees from entering the United States. Second of all, what we're actually doing is we are creating more victims of those war-torn countries because we're not letting them enter the United States. That means that there will probably be more casualties as a result of them being barred from fleeing the effects of war and fleeing death and inhumane living conditions. That's pretty much what we're doing. Finally, Trump himself has said that we will actually prioritize Christian refugees. So he's actually carrying out a litmus test for religion. He's saying that we want to discriminate. We choose one religion over another. If you practice Christianity, we favor you. They are also victims of those war-torn areas, but so are the Muslim people who are trying to come in here. That's why they're trying to come here in the first place. They're Muslims, but they're also victims. You could be Christian, you could be whatever religion you want to be, but if you want to come here as a refugee, that means that you are most likely a victim of a war that you want to take no part of, and that you want to flee away from. You want to run away from the effects of war. So a litmus test shouldn't apply here. A religious litmus test does not fit into this policy. So it's all about being a bigot. It's all about discriminating, because as we've just mentioned, this will have no effect in reducing the threat of terrorist attacks, because the terrorist attacks that have been carried out as of lately, even since the 9/11 attacks, have not been carried out by citizens of those countries, but it is a a discriminatory act. Is pretty much what it is. So if you're in support of this ridiculous executive order, you know already that you are not. You're only fooling yourself if you think that this is actually going to make us safer in any way, shape, or form. But we all know that this is only a discriminatory act for Muslims, because our very own president of the United States has said that we will favor Christians, and there's nothing more to say about that. This is a bigoted, discriminatory executive action, and there's no other way around it.